Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to come out today and listen to the Fresh Global Local Capacity System presented by Kamal Lizwalicha. Today, we're going to briefly talk about a few items implementing partners in local NGO relationship assessment or audit findings during implementation or post-project. And then we're going to talk about fresh global tools to strengthen local NGOs operation and to reduce audit findings and answer any of your questions. As we know that once a contract or a cooperative agreement has been awarded, we get to the startup phase and we're very happy because we've won the contract. And we get together with our sub grantees and we started the beginning of our implementation. And so we discuss grant administration and how we're going to implement our project. And it's a cordial relationship and we're all happy to be moving forward. But then what happens at the end of the project, we have to be faced with a project audit. And we know that it's coming, but we never really think about it until we see the audit. And so what happened was when we get the report, we're often surprised. And in some cases, we're screaming because the report might not be what we have anticipated. And so we look like Homer of The Simpsons with our reactions towards that report. So we do a follow-up meeting with the local NGO and discuss some of the findings. And we have to understand that once the audit has come out, there's really not much you can do with the audit findings. You can look into the future to prevent it, but the audit report has indicated something which you cannot change. So some of the sample audit findings that we note quite frequently is poor financial and procurement system, which can have a negative effect on the results of the program. Also, questionable procurements, internal control weaknesses, and timely execution of procedures, not timely at all, which also can cause many problems that can have a negative effect on your project. And so what happens is these are normal local NGO challenges. Many local NGOs are not even able to get direct funding from donors because of financial management weaknesses or procurement weaknesses. And even local NGOs that receive donor funds or sub-grant, we find that they have a higher audit findings of non-compliance as well, which really impacts their ability to get future funding and maintain sustainability. So what Fresh Global has created, we've created some tools that address some of these challenges and have created some solutions to prevent them from occurring or reoccurring. And here are some of our tools in the area of financial management, uh, e-procurement, HR, staffing, and payroll. So we're going to discuss a few of these in some detail. Let us start with the e-procurement or procurements in general. One of the departments with the highest corruption risk is your procurement section. It's one of those areas in my experience that I had to fire people and really have to warn vendors of such practices. And it's one area that many local NGOs just don't have the capacity because in a procurement system, just like a financial management system, you need separation of duties. And with most of our project budgets, we are only able to hire so many staff. And so procurement becomes a real area of concern. So what we've created is what we call e-pro, e-procurement, where the local NGO will use our local procurement system in which we as Fresh Global maintains. And that is communicated to the vendor. And so how is that done? Well, the first step is that all vendors must register online in our database, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Once they register, then we pre-qualify them. We get the necessary documentation, visit their location, and explain to them how our e-procurement system works. From that point, they are then pre-qualified, and when the local NGO needs services or items, the local NGO then sends that information to us, and then we put it in the e-procurement system, and then send out a request for quotations to the vendors online via email. And that could be as an email or text message that goes to the vendor, and the vendor goes into the system and bids online. And at the closing of those bids, then we run a price cost analysis report. And then that report then is sent to the local NGO. The local NGO will then see the prices of the various vendors, but also will get a chance to see the past performance of those vendors from other NGOs in our system. And so then you have an actual read of the effectiveness and of the performance of that particular vendor with past procurements. And then from there, the vendor, then the local NGO issue a purchase order to us. We put that into our system, send that to the vendor. The vendor delivers the goods and services, sends us a delivery note and an invoice. We send that to the local NGO for approval and for the local NGO to age that invoice and that accounts payable based on the due date. We send a reminder to the local NGO that the payment is due, receive a wire transfer from the local NGO, and then pay the vendor. If there's a case where the local NGO does not pay on time, the local NGO has to pay a late fee according to the donor's guidance and pay the vendor for late payment. And all of this is kept within our e-procurement system. proper documentation for the auditors to look at. It also prevents the vendors from negotiating with the procurement team on prices and on ways of getting paid and how much to increase their procurements in order for someone to get paid off for winning a bid. So this is a system that minimizes that as much as possible. Okay. Now our next service spotlight is our virtual finance controller service, which we call VFC. It's a service to assist the local NGOs to improve the financial management system. We provide constant training to their staff on financial management policies and procedures. Uh, and they receive an online accounting software with various apps to help them uh, to process payments in a very effective way in the financial management system. Uh, and in addition, they are given a virtual finance advisor to provide guidance and internal audit services as well. Now, let me give you a little more data or a little bit more information on the VFC. The VFC is generally what we consider to be a virtual chief financial officer. It's a person that handles basically the traditional duties of a CFO, an experienced financial professional, usually a former USAID controller or deputy controller or a local financial analyst, but someone who has experience with the donor financial policies and procedures. Uh, and this can help the organization in providing financial guidance and helping them resolve issues that might come up from time to time. In addition, the financial accounting service, as I had emphasized, is a cloud-based service. The data is shared, making it easy to transfer and for us to look at it in real time. Uh, and it provides a good cash flow of how money is being transferred and used. It can also help ease the bank reconciliations, and it could be used anytime, anywhere with an internet connection. It also provides budgets to actual reports to see if there are going to be any overruns and to alert the local NGOs of how to address that. And it's going to be able to pinpoint issues such as outstanding advances that might have been in the system a very long time. Okay. Also with this system, as I said, we are definitely looking for compliance. And when we notice non-compliance, we will alert the local NGOs immediately to address the issue so we will not have any audit findings in the future. And this also helps the organization and protects them from fraud that might be occurring with uh, with their staff. It happens from time to time. Now, additional services that we also provide, besides being a trusted advisor, is helping local NGOs to identify donor funding, fundraising activities, uh, also looking at the organizational structure to make sure that it's fine-tuned, and helping them establish an indirect or overhead rate in many cases would be very helpful for them. So with that, we provide a few options of our service. Option number one is providing the cloud-based accounting system, uh, providing the oversight of the accounting staff and functions, looking at the internal control or internal audit functions as well, and advisory services, which I have explained. Now, option number two is the same in terms of accounting system, but in this particular case, we uh, take full control of the financial management system uh, by hiring uh, staff, uh, outsourcing that staff and having them work with the local NGO, and also providing them the internal audit service as well as advisory services. And we have other options, but these are basically the two that we prefer. But we are flexible in looking at other options as well. Now here is a dashboard of one of the accounting systems that we offer, which allows the executive director, because with this accounting system you have unlimited users, and so the executive director can easily pull up uh, the accounting uh, system and look at the bank balances. You might want to be looking at accounts that he or she might want to pay close attention to, like advances or any other expenses that might be of interest. And not only expenses, but also assets and liabilities as well. And then money coming in from the implementing partner, and when it might be due or even if it's overdue. And also money going out, which is extremely important because you don't want to have any late payment. Okay? And so that's just a good, you know, outlook or how an executive director can look at the reports as well as the financial manager as well. And here we have a testimonial from a former executive director on our system. And I'll just give you a few moments to read that. Now, the next service spotlight is our HR management services. And here I'm just illustrating the options. We have a cloud-based HR system where you could actually have your staff uh, use an app to put in their time and making sure they put in their time and what they do in a timely fashion. Uh, and we could, oversee your HR team and their functions. We handle payroll, and we provide advisory services as well. And option number two is the same as the financial management, where we could just manage uh, your HR function, outsourcing that services to us, as well as doing the payroll and advisory services. So, in summary, uh, good working relationship with the implementing partner and the local NGO really depends on the implementing partner providing the proper technical assistance to the local NGO. Uh, Fresh Global can provide the technical assistance and tools for your local NGO's program support unit. Uh, with the technology out today, it really speaks your mind and what you really want to do in helping these local NGOs. And it's and I think it's very cost effective. And so what we encourage you all to do is to really look at this closely, give it some consideration, and let's get together and see how we can really work on this and make a difference in implementation of your project. So I will end this with a quote from Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. And I think that speaks volumes to what we can offer your local NGOs and especially to you. Uh, in terms of questions, this is a pre-recorded uh, video, so I will ask that you all send me any questions via email, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to discuss this further with you and to answer any questions that you might have and to discuss budget implications as well. So right now, I just wanted to say thank you again for attending this video. Uh, and do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are available and ready to serve you and your local NGOs today. Thank you.